Hi everybody, two travelers in Mexico. I'm here, Mark's behind the camera, and I'm with two friends and I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you.
Hi, I am Sandra Cano. I'm a Mexican lawyer. I'm an immigration lawyer, a mother of three, young children. And not so young children. Young, I cannot say teenagers because they are not teenagers anymore. Young adults is the word. And I'm also a teacher, teenager teacher, social sciences.
And I'm Suzanne Buller. I have a travel blog, which we'll put a link to below that. And I'm here to interview this wonderful woman, and you'll see why.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. Very happy to be here with you today.
Good. All right, Suzanne, I'm going to let you take the lead because you have your questions written down and we're going to go over that first.
So Sandra belongs to, if this is correct, a group of women.
Exactly.
Female lawyers who help young children and women that can't afford lawyers. So who started this group and when did they start it?
Well, this group was started by two wonderful women lawyers too. One of them is Celia Garcia. She is a specialist on human rights here in San Luis. She has a master's degree on human rights and she has always been an advocate for human rights. And the other one is Raquel Charqueño. Raquel is also a wonderful lawyer. She works in one of the most important law firms in San Luis Potosí, and it's always working with human rights too, and women's rights too. Mm-hmm. So they began this because they were finding many cases where they were working pro bono. Pro bono is like for free, helping women with different situations, and they realized there were many women requiring them, and they have not time enough to work on these cases, even though they wanted to do it. So they started looking for other friends who wanted to join them. It was like a little natural stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. I have another case, can you help this person? And some of these cases were not that you have to get them and go and give them legal assistance throughout a whole process. It was more to give them an advice, where to go, how to do it, how to get to the authorities, which documents they're required, and that was it. Some cases were as simple as that. Mm-hmm. But people didn't trust lawyers or go to any law firm, like knock at the door and get there. It was not that simple for them. So this is how they started contacting other lawyers they knew, and this is how they got this group. And suddenly we became 28 right now.
Oh, wow.
28 lawyers, all of them
wow,
from San Luis. 28 lawyers.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And imagine, they are very young. I am like from the older generation. Most of them are very, very young, like in your, exactly. I'm like the experienced one. I am like, oh my God, I'm not so experienced. They have a lot of experience in these cases. They are around their 30s, and the most important thing is that they have the willing to help other women. So there's like kind of a selection when we find someone and we talk to these lawyers and we tell them, hey, do you want to join us? And if they accept, or if any lawyer say, I want to be part of your group, there is kind of an interview. We check their documents, we check their profiles, and now, as it became so big, we have like a council of 5 of us in the group. I'm part of this council with Raquel, Celia, Mariana, and Macarena, and the 5 of us take like the leading decisions for the group, because otherwise it will be like a bit crazy.
So I can't remember, did you say when this started? How long ago did
It's like around more than 2 years ago, more or less. They have more than that. Raquel and Celia have more than 2 years working on these cases. But seriously, they started inviting 2 years ago, and 1 year ago, we made like the official ceremony and the presentation of the group, and then we got the name of it and a logo and some rules And yes, some like procedures and protocols that we follow.
And it's amazing because in 2 years, I looked up on the flyer, and I don't know how old the flyer is or if it's new, and you had dealt with 495 cases.
Exactly.
You know, and that's amazing. You
Well,
know.
in 2 years?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, that's
up to now, more or
yeah.
less. Well, for now it should be around 500, more or less.
Wow.
more like yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And so now you said they only gave advice, but now, like I see that some of the matters are quite serious. Especially there was 40% are criminal matters relating to physical,
Abuse.
sexual abuse, and that on both young children and women. So do they get free? Like, do they have to pay to go to court?
Normally, it's like the first meeting is free advice.
Yes.
Free advice, that's what we offer up to now. Because we have very little sponsors. If you want, I can explain
Yes.
to you how it works in a while. But it's free advice, like your time to give some advice. Sometimes these women only need someone to listen to them or to tell them, yes, there's a crime committed there. There's something legally you can do. Some of them are not even ready to begin with a legal process. They say, okay, I just want to have like some tools and some information about what would I be able to do just in case, because they see like some alarms.
Yes.
Some others don't know where to go, and there are some free institutions, public institutions that may help them. They are there for them. The problem in Mexico with all these brilliant and wonderful institutions is that they never advise anywhere, and they are so like overwhelmed with people. There's too much people going there, so they do not have enough time to give this first advice. So, for example, if a woman goes there, she may lose her full journey of work, her day, and then they will say, well, you need copies, these documents, these papers, blah, blah, blah. No, we cannot help you now. You must go, and then they go away and they have to come back again after wasting many days.
Yes.
So what they do with us is that they can advance a little bit in the process. We can even tell them where to go, because sometimes they go to the wrong office.
Yeah.
They go to a place and then they say, oh no, it's not here. You have to go to the children institution. You have to go to the women persecutor, crime persecutor. You have to go to the Centro de Justicia para Mujeres. Because now we have many different institutions helping on this issue. The problem is that people just not know where to go. Or the other part is that some of them say, yes, I have money. Yes, I can pay you. And they can make an arrangement with the lawyer on how much to pay. Or if we see they have no money, and this is a case that must go to the court immediately, or otherwise it won't be solved, we can get some of these cases pro bono for free. So it depends on the lawyer, it depends on the people, it depends on their needs. We can even call other law firms who help with us, who work with us, like Allied with us. They are not part because they are like big law firms,
Right.
but they may take some cases pro bono.
And will they do it for free?
Yes, some of them they do.
Okay.
They do take some cases for free.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
It depends.
Right.
For example, if a lawyer of the group is part of these firms,
Mhm.
they can present some cases to the rest of the lawyers on the
Okay.
firm, and then if they accept, they may go.
Okay.
In some
Okay.
cases, they have done that.
I think I just have one more question, and do you think that the women find it easier to approach the group because they are
Yes,
women?
yes.
You know, not-
Even in some cases, for example, some people who had resources or some women who had contacted us, they do have resources, but they say, you know, in my family, if I ask for a lawyer, they always tell me men names, okay, men lawyers. So I don't want to talk to a man about my case. I want to contact a woman specifically, and that's why I was looking someone like you. So that's what they get to us.
Yes.
So how do they find out about your organization? I mean, how do they find out? Is it just word of mouth, or do you guys advertise?
Now we are realizing that it's becoming like more popular.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if you are part of. I know we all are part of the expats in San Luis Potosí, but there are many women groups in Facebook, for example.
Oh.
Many women groups in San Luis, and in all those, when they mention, hey, do you know a lawyer, or I have this, or I have problems that my ex-husband is not giving me money for my children, do you know anyone who may help me? And now we are discovering that they are recommending us. So we
Nice.
have our social networks, yes,
Nice.
it's maybe called that way.
Yeah.
It's maybe digital or social
Right.
networks as it works in Mexico.
Nice.
Everything,
That's
you know?
great.
Up to now, that's the way it works.
Yes. So,
Do you represent women who crimes have been committed against them, but do you also represent women that have been accused of crimes?
Yes, in some cases we do, and we work, as I was telling you, there are some other associations that also work on this kind of cases about human rights abuse. And one of these associations is Perteneces, for example. They work with people who is in jail, is in prison, and they have not been correctly defended. So in some cases we can work also with them. So what we also try to do is these alliances with other groups and other associations who are helping women in other circumstances. So most of the cases are women who have suffered an abuse. And there have been also some men who have contacted us, but they have to, when we take these cases, it's because there's children. So if there's children, what we do is we try to protect the children's rights. Okay, so
First,
exactly.
yes.
So no matter who contact us, in some cases, for example, there's children who have been abandoned by their moms too. So the dad, the father, may contact us, and we can help them because of the children.
yes.
That's how it works. This is for children, women, and teenagers, mainly focused on this.
So, Mexico is still a fairly patriarchal society.
It is.
And unfortunately, as a result, crimes against women go some unpunished, underpunished, uninvestigated. Can you give us your thoughts on that?
Yes, unfortunately, for example, Mexico has made, the government has made a huge effort for equity, gender equity. But according to numbers and according to statistics, it hasn't been enough. So what they are doing, for example, is opening the Centro de Justicia para Mujeres, which is a justice center for women, and they give legal advice, and they give legal support, and they even have refuges for women who are abused or somehow they require a place where to stay away from their family and their group of people. So they have been doing many things. There are many laws to protect women for your working situation, to improve working conditions for women, etc. But what is like our getting us like backwards are crimes. Criminality against women has been rising a lot. So it seems like while government is trying to take some steps focused on women equity, society and the patriarchy is getting like more upset or more violent against women.
One step forward, two steps back.
Exactly. And one step forward in documents, in laws, in authorities, in these centers, but this hasn't got to the people and society yet. So we're still working on that, and that's the reason why we may see many women associations and women groups to protect each other. And you were asking me by WhatsApp about the name of of our
Yes.
group is sororal, and it may sound to you like sorority. It's also a term that has no translation. Sororal has to do with sorority. But if I tell you sorority in English, you think about a fraternity and university and this group of women. And well, the only like match these both terms have is that yes, it's like sister, like a sisterhood. It's a sororidad is a term created by a Mexican anthropologist who studied and said, well, the only way women have in Mexico to overcome of this patriarchy and of these alliances made by men to protect each other and to defend each other and to do many things against women is if we all women get together as sisters, like in a sisterhood, to defend ourselves, not to criticize ourselves, to do things to help other women.
Stronger in numbers.
Exactly, to get the support of other women. And even Marcela Lagarde is the name of this anthropologist. And she said, we do not have to be friends. We do not have to love each other and to agree on everything. But if you see there is another woman on need, try to do your best for that person. And then another one is going to do the same for you. Or at least try not to do anything against her. So that is what sororidad means. And there's where our name comes from.
Do you have a website where you can accept donations for people who are wanting to help?
Not a website yet, but we do have our Facebook group, and in our Facebook group, which is the name is Sororal Red de Abogadas, and there you can contact the person who's managing this, and she may tell you how to help us. Because the point here, that's also something important that I would like to let you know. There is a parallel group to the one I am part of, which is the one made up by lawyers, and we are the council of this almost 30 lawyers group, which is the Consejo Consultivo or consultancy. And this group is a fabulous group of women who give us support outside the legal part. Most of them are business women. Yes, they are business women, all of them. And they do many things, very important things. For example, they organize events to collect funds, and they also give us some money when we require it. Some of them give us an amount of money every month, a monthly amount, and then also their advice. Because as we are lawyers, we are more focused on legal stuff and justice and dealing with authorities and judges and all this and the court. And they are not. They are looking for women, for example, offering jobs for them or trying to give them some advice on how to move on when they suffer an abuse, etc. So it's a very interesting group too.
So let me ask you this, Women's Day in Mexico, how long has that been going on, and can you talk a little bit about that for people that don't know much about it? Can you share
Yes,
that?
it's becoming a big
Yes,
event worldwide, in fact. Women's Day, well, it began, I don't know, I may say around 8 years ago, the march. Okay, the march every year. There were small groups of women, but 2020, yes, it was in 2020, they organized a movement called, it is on March 8th, because on March 8th there was a celebration, a world celebration for Women's Day, according to United Nations. They established that day because of some women who, and maybe you know the story, right? It has to do with the women working on factories, in clothing factories in New York, and these fires. So everywhere there are different kind of celebrations. Or I didn't say celebration, more than commemoration, or a way to raise your voice more than celebrate anything. It's like a day to tell a society that these numbers are that patriarchy is still a thing,
Right.
and women are not equally treated in most of the world, even though the big efforts that have been done. So that's one side, and yes, internationally, it's a recognized date for doing something for women. But here in Mexico, because of the number of crimes and feminicides, many different group of women were calling on 2020 for a special day that was Nueve Nadie Se Mueve, was like the name of the movement. And that meant that on March 8th, we were going to the march, and on March 9th, we want to move. So on 2020, it was like a big deal. It was a big deal because most women say, no, we're not going to work, we're not going to do anything at home, we're not going to bring kids to school, and teachers at school said, well, we're not going to be here at school. So everyone realizes how important are
Right.
women in Mexico, how important is our work, and how are we still less paid than men, for example, for doing the same activity, and many other facts, or the crimes too. So it was like a big deal, and everywhere was a bit shocking, like what to do. Well, for example, there were some schools that said, well, if teachers are not coming, we're not opening the school, because most of our teachers are women, so we cannot accept any kids. But mothers were saying, if kids are staying here at home, I'm not going to have my free day of not moving day. So it was something really, really big and really shocking that year. So since then on, the movement on March 8th became like bigger and bigger and bigger. Every year there are more women participating on the parade, and every year there's more people participating on this. We are moving now, we are not doing the Nueve Nadie Se Mueve anymore, but well, I guess it's doing like the noise we require to focus the attention on these issues.
In a non-violent way, which is...
In a non-violent way.
Well,
in a non-violent way,
I wanted
let's
to say something here. When Mark and I first came to Mexico, we were in Morelia for a year. And I think we were there when they did the women's protest or march or whatever, standing for the women. And what they did is they took a bunch of shoes. I mean, I think everybody does it different in their areas to celebrate it or to honor it. Or
to honor, yes,
yeah.
I'd say.
And so they had shoes all lined up, like from babies to older women, and it was just like a memorial thing that they had put out. Well, later on, we noticed, I think we were in Querétaro one time, when it was also the celebration or the honor of women, and they were starting to spray paint statues and do that sort of stuff, and I thought, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, because there's a good way to go about it and there's a bad way to go about it. And I was seeing, like these buildings, these beautiful buildings that were just being spray painted and things like that. And then we went back to Morelia later, and we were there after it had happened, like the next day, and there was spray painting all over again, churches and old buildings and houses, people's homes, and windows just busted out,
Yes.
And it's like, they don't have to do that to get the point across. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean, and many people has asked this before. And my point, after analyzing like all the perspective in my hands, is that in Mexico, younger women especially have like a quote that says, if I'm not coming back, burn it all, everything. Burn it all. There are so many women disappeared in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
But most of them are women.
Yeah.
Most of them are women. and there hasn't been any solution. You go for authorities and you see the stories of these mothers, of sisters or husbands who go and knock the door in every institution, the police, the judges, the governor, majors, everyone, and they never get an answer. So it's said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just a building. It's just a wall. If you go here in San Luis, now it's everything clean. The next day, everything is in normal conditions. Like this year, they were burning the university. I don't. Maybe you know the building, the main building of University, Edificio Central of University, just in front of Plaza Fundadores.
Okay.
It's a beautiful building.
Okay, no, I didn't know that though.
And it was one of the most damaged buildings this year. Why? Because at university there are many authorities and teachers who have been accused of sexual abuse and nothing had happened. They are still there. They were teaching when I was young. My daughter is at university and they are still teaching there because they are teachers and they are protected and they are lawyers and they are big names, you know, and nothing happened. Never, ever. It's like, it is a way, maybe it's not the best way, I'm pretty sure it is not the best way to claim what you are requiring.
Right, but I think there's
But
a lot
it
of
is a
frustration. I
way.
think they're frustrated,
Exactly.
and I think a lot of them are the younger women.
Yes, when you talk to them, when you listen to their stories, you say, yes, burn it all, quémenlo todo. Burn it all if I'm missing. I don't know what I would do if my daughter, who is 22, for example, is missing. Maybe I will burn everything. So it's so complicated and it's so frustrating that it is a way to express their frustration. So,
Well, especially if no one is listening to
Right.
it or doing anything about
no one is doing it.
Yeah.
No one. That's the biggest problem. And here, if you go to Plaza de Armas, you may see the monument of a girl who was killed. It has been demonstrated. He died because she was trying to escape from her rapist, from a rape, were in a dancing club where she worked as a waiter, and her boss was trying to rape her. So running, she crossed a window, and she died, and nothing happened to him. He escaped for many years.
Is that statue?
Yes,
that
that's
represents
the statue.
that?
Okay.
She is represented there.
Okay.
And she was made with keys donated by many people.
Okay.
We donated all the keys, and the sculptor made the sculpture for free. So yes, so we must do something. I mean,
Right.
many things may be done with the law, with authorities, with other people, through education, and others decide to do this. So it's another way to claim for justice, unfortunately.
In Canada, it's so different because if somebody, if somebody has, say, raped your daughter, the police would be there and charging them immediately. And sometimes it works the other way because they may not be guilty, but they're already labeled with.
Exactly.
But not most of the time.
Yes, it's a different way. I mean, you may have a more effective police. Here we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, in any circumstance, but especially against if crimes are committed against women, or especially against younger women. It's not because they are always telling them, what were you wearing? Were you drunk? What were you doing there? Etc. So things that should not happen anymore. But it's the way they are treated. They are still treated.
Yes, because for the majority of, I think, men in Canada and the States, it wouldn't matter what a woman is wearing. They would have enough control and respect to not,
attack. Exactly.
I would hope so.
Exactly. But it's cultural. It's cultural. It's this part that they think women belong to them. You belong to your dad, then you belong to your brothers, and then you belong to your husband. So your life, some of them still think Your life belongs to them, and they can do whatever they want to.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to
Change.
change.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, it really is.
It is. But thanks to the help of people, thanks to this, thanks to all the things that many people may be doing, little by little, we may change it. I hope it will work. Otherwise, we may not do anything. If we think it may not change, we may go like, oh, that's so sad.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but it is the way it is. But no, we think we may change this.
Oh, you will. I'm sure. Sometimes it seems like it's forever, but
No, there have been changes. As I was saying, institutionally and politically, there have been some changes. For example, now we have 2 women candidates for the presidency.
yeah.
So in Mexico,
True.
we will have the first Mexican women president here. So these may not be possible like years ago. So this
Yes.
is like an example of how things may change.
yes.
Hope for good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you guys for talking and sharing this information, because I think that this is really important information to get out. I
Thank
really
you.
do. And I really thank you for what you guys are doing to help
Oh
these
no,
women.
thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
Thank you for your support.
Big
Thank
time.
you for letting us
Big time.
show what we do to other people, especially to foreigners and the expat community in Mexico.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to put a link down below, so if you need to get in contact with Sandra, you can go ahead and do that. And we're going to put a link for Suzanne for her blog. And we hope that you guys really take away from this what we're trying to present here about what's happening, what has happened, and the changes that we're trying to make.
Exactly, and also another group of people, if you let me explain this, as I am an immigration lawyer, another group of people who really suffers a lot are women, immigrated women. Okay, so these people, especially we all know the situation of Central American people who crosses Mexico to get to the United States, but especially Central American women are abused, sexual abused, and there are many crimes committed against them. They suffer a lot. Some of them travel pregnant or with their children. So it's a really difficult situation, the one they pass through. But maybe that is for another occasion,
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to.
Thank you, Paula.
To do
Thank
this.
you,
Thank-
Suzanne.
Thank you, Paulette and Mark, for allowing me to join in this conversation, and I'll be putting a link to your YouTube channel on my blog as well. So
Yeah.
Thank you. You are very, very nice.
And as always, from the 2 travelers in Mexico.
What they did.